You see it every day. People walking down the street, texting, checking their emails, talking on the phone. I mean, who hasn't done it, right? The dogs are all taught to sit patiently, and they tend to bring out the best in everyone. But it's not just about getting families into their own homes. It's also about reducing urban blight so that the whole neighborhood benefits. Yoga is believed to have a calming effect on adults who practice it, and it apparently works on babies too. These are the proud members of the Drumline at Faith's Place. From preschoolers to high school seniors, they all demand one thing of themselves and each other: precision. And there's no slacking off allowed here.
Do it again.
If you join this Drumline, you're expected to be at every practice, on time, ready to work, focused and disciplined.
So I need everybody to be what? Quiet. Say it again.
Quiet. Noble Mays is the founder and director.
What we try to do is teach teamwork, and the focus and the discipline helps when they are working together as one, as opposed to I'm an individual, and I just so happen to be on this drum line.
The Drumline they're on rehearses in a no-frills community center in a low-income neighborhood. They often compete against groups with more resources, plush rehearsal spaces, expensive equipment. But instead of discouraging the young musicians, that seems to motivate them even more.
We're just so determined to win and always be in first place, to the point that we will practice for the longest. Nothing will stop us.
That determination has paid off with countless wins all over the state. They also perform at public events and private functions, sometimes on steel drums. Often as fundraisers to help keep the program going. Because of that, the kids are taught to appeal to many different types of audiences.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
And they seem to catch on quickly to what works.
And I like to smile because of my dimples.
And what doesn't.
Things like messing up, you don't run off the stage and just say, I'm not doing this.
And when the people in the audience are with them, that, they say, makes it so much better.
Because when I first get on stage, I feel so nervous and I feel like I'm gonna break down, but when they smile at me, I feel like just relax and just play and do a great job.
But while doing a great job on stage is highly valued, it's not the only place these kids are expected to shine.
If you don't have a seat, there's going to be a PROBLEM. What's that? Problem. Thank you.
They're also required to keep their grades up. If they don't, they're not allowed to participate. It's not easy, but May says it's not supposed to be.
We have instant Facebook, we have Instagram, so all of that spoils the child without an adult even being present. It's just right away. They want their answers and they want their gratification right away, but here they have to work for it.
Mays feels what they're giving the kids is a lifeline of sorts, a way to avoid the pitfalls of peer pressure.
Saving them from all type of adversity that includes gang violence, drugs, saving them from themselves.
And it all starts here on the Drumline. This is Sheryl Kahn reporting for TV 18. Churches like this one are considered by many to be the heart and soul of the community. And on the north end, Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church has played that role for more than 120 years.
We have had to be so much for so many because of our particular predicament as African Americans in America. The church in the black community is more than just a worship center. It's a community action center, it's a social center, it's a political center.
And it was put to good use during segregation when African Americans, especially in the South, were faced with so many obstacles. 73-year-old Gwen Ferguson is the church's executive assistant and Sunday school teacher.
What words do they use in praising God?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Ferguson says she remembers what it was like growing up around here during the 1940s when simply stepping outside the neighborhood could lead to tragedy.
What I remember in crossing the boundaries, most of the time you would be, especially if it was at night, you would be arrested for being in an area that you were so-called not supposed to be in.
The first school for African American children was housed right here at Tabernacle. Later, during the 1960s, the church hosted prominent civil rights leaders like Coretta Scott King. Today, Tabernacle is a mosaic of old school tradition.
Clap your hands, help me lift Jesus. Stomp your feet, help me lift Jesus. Somebody help me now, help me lift Jesus.
And Generation Next. And on any given Sunday, they're still packing them in.
It would be very difficult for me to attend another church other than Tabernacle. I grew up in Tabernacle. This is my church, it was my family church, and I just can't see where I would fit any place else other than here.
And she's not alone.
Y'all be tired, so move your feet.
Sharday McQuay is working towards her PhD at Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, but she comes back to West Palm Beach every chance she gets to help lead Tabernacle's young dance troupe.
So I grew up dancing with Tehillah from an itty-bitty child around the age of 6 or 8.
The girls she's teaching now range in age from 12 to 21. Their talent is used to convey spirituality.
It's a dance trance, as we call it, to where we allow the music and the movement that we're doing to take over.
Choreography like this also helps the dancers connect the dots between a deeply troubled past.
Think like your grandma, your great-grandma, whoever was the eldest in your family, 80s and up.
And struggles that continue today. And they're definitely counting their blessings that this church has come a long way, surviving setbacks that seem to have made it stronger in the long run, rebuilding after a devastating hurricane. Constructing a brand new education center right across the street, trying to serve as a beacon of light for whoever needs it.
It gives the community that peace, that, there is somewhere here to turn when times do get hard.
Hoping to be an inspiration for many years to come. This is Sheryl Kahn reporting for TV18. It's something they hope they'll never have to do, but for these rookie cops, knowing how to shoot a gun is critical. So is trying to avoid being shot themselves.
I try to teach them to have a survival mindset, making sure that you're able to go home, ideally in the same condition you came to work, and being able mentally to do that.
But how to handle weapons is only one piece of what they'll be learning. Their training ranges from how to drive a squad car while pursuing a suspect.
If you're in a situation where you're in traffic or whatever, you can't move, you can't go anywhere, then you have to get to your gun.
To how to cuff him properly when they do catch him.
Your feet together. Get on the way.
And how to treat the wounded if they get to a scene before paramedics arrive.
You got there, what's that look like, an exit wound? I don't have a bleed, and then there's another exit wound.
For these 7 new officers, the learning curve varies. Some served in the military before joining the force, others took a different route. 30-year-old Chicago native Brent True calls himself the old man in his class, and he has in fact led a very full life already.
I went to school to be a youth pastor, and I was a youth pastor for about 3 years in Gurnee, Illinois. When I was a little kid, I always wanted to be in law enforcement, and in high school it was kind of a fork in the road. Do I want to go ministry? Do I want to do law enforcement? I chose ministry, and after a few years I just realized I wasn't happy.
Married with children, True postponed his start on the force because of a family crisis.
I have 3 kids. 2 of them were diagnosed with a pre-leukemia at the beginning of the year, so they had to get bone marrow transplants.
Now on the road to recovery, True's kids and his wife will finally be able to see him in action in his new role. 24-year-old Ulysses Plana traveled a long road to get here too.
Liberty and justice for all.
Plana moved to Miami from Cuba 10 years ago with his mother and younger sister. With a single mom working long hours to keep a roof over their heads, Plana says he had to grow up fast.
No dad in the house, so pretty much I was the man of the house. My mom asks me sometimes, do you regret anything that you have done? And I respond with a no, like not at all, because I'm 24, but I feel I've grown a lot because of that.
That maturity will serve him well as Plana adjusts to his new job, one he chose carefully after finishing college. And while they could face more challenges as the years go by, right now both True and Plana feel only optimism, that they will find joy in their jobs, that they will make a difference.
30 years from now, hopefully I'll still be here, about ready to retire, and I can look back and just enjoy the moments.
This is Sheryl Kahn reporting for TV18. Esther Bondaref knows a lot about the animals at the Palm Beach Zoo.
Say hi. Say I'm so pretty.
After all, she once chaired the zoo's board of directors. She's been volunteering for 27 years, going through the same training as everyone else.
They've taught me to be patient, which is a difficult thing for me, and to greet everybody the same way.
But what makes her different is her age. Esther is 99 years old and still going strong. Her philosophy is simple.
If you want to stick around, you have to move your body and your mind. And you have an interest to get up for in the morning.
She gets up in the morning to help with the crowd at shows like this one and behind the scenes, too.
There you go. Thank you.
Kids who run into the zoo's oldest docent can expect a pop quiz.
What does the frog say? Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit.
And while most who meet her admire Esther's get up and go, some people just don't get it.
They think I'm nuts. They thought I should be home, maybe sitting in a wheelchair and knitting or something.
Esther says that's not going to happen because, according to her, this is the new 99, and she's not planning to slow down anytime soon. This is Sheryl Kahn reporting for TV18. Just about any stogie smoker will tell you there's nothing like a good Cuban cigar. Up until recently, they were very hard to come by in this country, although where there's a will, there's always been a way. Where do you get Cuban cigars?
I have a friend of mine's a pilot. He brings them back.
But since the U.S. lifted some of the restrictions on Cuban goods, cigar aficionados like these guys will be able to legally buy them and smoke them. It could become a very pricey habit.
I think they're going to be very expensive. Because I think the demand is going to be much higher than the supply.
That's what Yohani Nistal is counting on. He owns this cigar shop where customers come in to shoot the breeze and puff the day away. Yohani is a Cuban immigrant who learned to roll cigars at a factory near his hometown.
One of my relatives used to work in a cigar factory, so she brought me into the cigar business.
For the past several years, he's gone to a lot of trouble to bring his customers the closest legal thing to Cuban cigars. They're made at his factory in Nicaragua using tobacco grown from seeds that came from Cuba. Complicated, yes, but Yohani says it's been worth it, and he's not afraid of losing customers to Cuban imports.
There's no way they can compete with other countries, Nicaragua and Dominican Republic, that they paying between $5 to $8. Cuban cigar is going to cost over here between $25 and up.
Yohani's regulars say they'll keep buying what he's selling because they like him and they love smoking cigars no matter where they come from.
I think it's relaxing. I think there's a lot of camaraderie with cigar smokers.
And while they do enjoy other kinds, some admit being intrigued by actual Cuban cigars. And so they say, don't be surprised if one day soon, through the haze, you see someone puffing away on a cigar that's clearly labeled Made in Cuba. This is Sheryl Kahn reporting for TV18.